Okay.
You gotta ask the questions.
Welcome to Omega Studio School's interviews, where we're interviewing our former students who are now our graduates and now successful in the industry. Our latest illustrious guest is Mr. Robert Middleton. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. When did you graduate from here?
At the top of 2018, the end of 2017.
Okay. If I remember correctly, before you came here, you actually were already doing recording and audio engineering.
Yes, I was already engineering for about 7 to 8 years before then. I was doing it in a live sound setting at
Right.
my church, as well as I had a recording studio in my house.
So what made you want to, if since you were already in the industry, what made you want to come to Omega?
I wanted to take it to the next level. Like, I already knew about how to run Pro Tools. I knew about stuff about signal flow, but I haven't actually been inside of a real recording studio before at that time. Like, I worked at studios. I was working at a studio when I came to Omega,
Right.
for about a year, but it wasn't on the level of this, So I came here so I can get the know-how, so I can learn touch the board, learn how to wire it, learn everything, like all the technical stuff from the theory behind how sound works, audio works, how your ears work. They taught me all of that here.
So did it help when it came to your, after you graduated?
Yes, because I ended up opening up my own studio, and I worked at another studio which had like a SSL in it, and I worked in studios across LA that had SSLs and patch bays and hardware and stuff that I wouldn't have known how to use without coming here. So
What were your favorite classes here?
actually being in the studio and like the theory classes with what's his name, Neil. Neil.
It could be, yeah, right. So what did you take from here that you apply to your profession? I mean, the engineering part of your life, as well as the studio owner and running part of your life.
Well, professionalism. I learned that from being here, watching like when the guys come and set up sessions and stuff for people. How they wire everything, keep everything clean. Even come down to like setting up like for the sessions, like writing stuff down, being real documenting everything. When it comes to like the owning the studio, I mean, I wouldn't say that Omega like helped me as much like owning the studio, because I mean I already was working at a studio and I
Right.
seen how that was ran, and I was real close with the owner of that studio, so I knew the ins and outs of like booking sessions, keeping clients, and stuff like that.
So when did
As well
you?
as doing it on my own at my house
Right.
for the before that.
So when did you open your own studio, and where is it located?
So I opened my own studio on December 27th, 2020.
Okay.
And it's in Fort Washington, Maryland. It's called Greenhouse Studios. And we have 2 recording studios and 2 photography studios.
How did COVID impact you,
Um, it
or did it?
it impacted us a little bit because we had to like lower the numbers of the amount of people that come into the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we just wore masks and kept everything sanitized and clean as possible. So we would just stayed away from it. It was a few people that caught COVID, but not from being at the studio.
Okay. I understand you have another location you're getting ready to open.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not about to open another location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
I thought you. So, what would a student who attended a school like Omega, what would they have to do to prepare to work for a studio like yours?
Make sure you know Pro Tools and Signal Flow,
Mm-hmm.
and once if you know that and you can troubleshoot, you can work for Greenhouse.
Okay.
If you have a understanding of how Pro Tools works and you can troubleshoot, you can work for Greenhouse, because there's no time are you gonna be an engineer and be in the studio and a problem don't arise.
Right.
And if you can solve that problem without calling me, you're doing something right.
Did you like working in the most?
This
This one. Why?
Just because this is like a very famous console, and like this is like the most this is the most popular like console in like the professional industry. So I kind of just wanted to learn this board because like all the studios that I've been to in LA have this board in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like very few times have I been to a studio when they had like a need for
Right.
or something else. Usually it's a variation of this board, whether it's a SSL duality, AWS, 9,000, 4,000, 6,000, something along the lines of solid state logic. So I wanted to, like, you know, I wanted to learn this board the most.
So who are some of the artists you've been working with?
Since I've graduated from Omega, I've worked with NBA YoungBoy, Shot Glizzy. I've worked on every Shot Glizzy album since 2018, whether I've recorded half of the songs or I've touched pretty much almost 75% of his work since 2018. I've worked with a slew of local artists from Q the Fool, Gunu, Lil Dude, Big Flock, Top Dollar Sweezy, 3-0 Black, No Savage, JG Riff.
Wow, everybody.
Pretty much all the local artists. That's Money Ma. I don't want to leave nobody's name out that I know. So yeah, but just about all of the local DMV scene, and I work with a slew of like less popular artists as well.
So does your studio only do hip hop, or are you like full service? You record anything and anybody?
We pretty much record almost anybody and anything. It depends on what they want, you know. Like maybe like a month and a half ago, we recorded a choir and it like a pretty like it was a 3-piece choir. That was cool. We record gospel, rap, R&B, guitar, drums, like pretty much anything we can fit into the live room or into our large area right outside the studio, we can record.
Now, when we ask you about classes, you said signal flow was one of your favorite classes?
Yeah, like the theory of learning, like about the Fletcher Munson curves and like learning about how your ears work and stuff like that was like some of the best stuff that I learned here.
Because how did that help them? Because if you were already recording and people were already hiring you, they must have.
Yeah, so I probably innately already had like been developing an ear for sound and audio, and I've been doing a lot of research on my own.
Right.
From using YouTube to reading books to everything before I even came here. But it was just certain things that they told me here that I wouldn't have got from doing it on my own. Well, I could have learned it. I could have learned it on my own.
Right.
But it just would have taken longer time. Like you know, right here when I was here at Omega, it's like they just dive right into exactly what you need to know.
Okay. Did it help to have hands-on training?
Yes, definitely helped to have hands-on training because you get to actually feel the board, get the textile like every console. You get to wrap cables, touch the mics, see what they look like, adjust them, move them, like touch the tape machine, learn how to splice tape, stuff that they don't even do no more. You know what I mean? So like that's like if you really love like audio engineering like I do, then you appreciate stuff like that. So I just appreciated everything, like learning about like how to create a sub kick with like a speaker and a wire, you know, the stuff just the small stuff like that too. So like it's just a lot. It was a lot.
So how challenging was it to build and launch your own studio? What were some of the things that you had to deal with?
So initially it was just like dealing with the build of the studio, like knowing like how I wanted it to look and stuff like that, because I didn't really have like the budget to make it like super like in depth when it comes to like the design of the studio, but I definitely got it down to where it was like well insulated, well treated with like ceiling clouds and stuff like that I learned here about the Owens Corner 703s and the walls.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did any of your training here help you when it came to designing?
Yes, definitely. Definitely did, because you know, being there and working at the other studios that I've been across the country as well, like seeing the designs, first time I seen a nice studio was here.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the last time, you know. So
Okay.
I took in all of the ideas that I've seen in other studios and seen what they've done with the wiring and stuff like that. So I've taken those ideals and imported them into my studio when it comes to like that type of stuff. Only thing I really don't really have is like a console, you know.
Oh, okay.
Or like stuff like that. But I feel like nowadays a lot of studios are kind of getting rid of these or like downsizing.
They're
to smaller
downsizing.
ones.
So if I'm a student, if I'm a young person and I'm thinking I want to be an audio engineer, what kind of preparation should I do before I consider coming to a place like this?
Do your research. Just do your research on like audio engineering before you get here, because a lot of people that come here usually have no idea what they're doing when they get here, and when they leave, a lot of them still have no idea what they're doing. Not because of the training that you all give, but for themselves. You know what I mean? They aren't doing the research. They aren't taking it home and utilizing it and trying it, or you know, just that type of thing. Me, when I was coming here, I was working at a studio, so I would leave Omega with everything that's in my mind that y'all taught me, and I would go to the studio, and even though they don't have all the stuff that y'all have, I'll apply that to the stuff that they do have. Like they had a Avalon 737 inside the studio, so I was like, okay, adjust the gain and knowing some of the terms more, or like, you know, just understanding like, okay, you can change the signal flow inside of this. Before I was just using it one way, but knowing, oh, I could swap the EQ before in and out, just like I could do on the SSL, and like, you know, it just opened your mind up to different things. I was trying different stuff and Pro Tools that I wouldn't have tried before I went to Omega.
So the training you got here also, I would imagine that the people you're working with, they were impressed.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know what I mean? Because I was already, like, pretty popular when it came to, like, the engineering scene in the area, because I was doing it for so long. But once I started going to Omega and started learning and stuff, I could just tell that my skills was getting better. Like, my ear was developing more, because I would just show out. Like, before I came here, I knew certain things. I was pointed. I used to watch videos and really critically listen to this stuff, so I can really point out, okay, that's a change in the sound. But when I came here, it was even deeper, because I'm inside of this super acoustically treated room that you can hear all of the imperfections in the audio and stuff like that. So it's like I'm sitting here learning, like really learning, like, okay, I can really hear this EQ change. I can hear this. I can hear compression, or they taught me how to hear compression. Because I've asked that question, like, because I was around people that you could ask that type of question to. But like, I know what compression sounds like, but when you get to talk to somebody who been doing this for 20 years.
Like our instructors.
Exactly, like the instructors here at Omega. And somebody that's been doing it for 20 years, and you ask them that question, and it's a different philosophical answer. Like, you know, it's more than just what I learned is that engineering is more than just like being able to do it hands-on and stuff. It's about the way you think about the stuff you're doing, as well as the way you hear it and your expertise behind it.
And so a lot of the instructors were able to impart that kind of knowledge to you.
Yes, they was definitely imparting their knowledge on me. Like Pete Novak, I feel like he really opened my ear up like a lot, you know. Just from talking to him and like asking him so many questions, he probably was annoyed with me.
Like if networking was important to you, if networking was important to build your career, your reputation, your brand, all those types of things.
Yeah, networking was definitely a huge thing when it came to like being in the engineering field in this area. Because if you're not personable, people don't want to work with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to be personable. You got to be on point with everything, like, you know what I mean, be on time, all that type of stuff. I feel like I had to develop my network in the area as well. Like,
how'd you do that?
To be honest with you, I just happened. I guess sometimes I was just in the right place at the right time, and I was just ready for that opportunity. Like when I was in front of the computer, ready to record. When a big artist came in,
right,
I was the one that was ready.
Okay.
I was ready for the opportunities, like at all times. Like I was always prepared. Whenever somebody was ready to work, I was ready to work.
So the key is to be prepared, do a lot of research.
Yeah. Be prepared for all opportunities. If you're not prepared, you fail already. If you're not ready, like if you don't know what you're doing, and when you get in front of and when you get in one of these rooms, you lose the opportunity just that fast. And the artist will tell you, "Can we get another engineer here?"
And then that's
Or they calling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to be real, I've been in that situation where I've been in the studio. Well, I've been in my house,
right.
and an artist from this area was in the studio with somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be like, "Man, bro, can you come up here, or can you send them a template, or can you tell the engineer how to do this? Because they not on point, or they not ready." And I'm the one that's always ready. So that's usually how my opportunities came about.
Okay.
I guess you personally, like, what do you do more now, or like after here, were you doing more beat making and then showing it, or were you still just producing for people or engineering for people, like from the jump, or did you eventually stop needing to make the beats?
I see. So that's the thing. I'm not
You're
really.
not a beat maker.
I'm not a beat maker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm an audio engineer. Huh? So I mean, when it comes to production, I'm definitely hands on when it comes to like helping the artist see the vision from start to finish, or like helping them out when it comes to like telling them, "Oh no, do this part right here," or change this around, or changing the arrangement and stuff in Pro Tools and stuff like that. I feel like that's a huge skill of mine. It's like arrangement and guiding the artist in the studio.
You know, because a lot of times they say that the audio engineer just should be quiet and let the artist do what they want to do. But you find it's different.
Yeah, because sometimes the artists don't want you just to be sitting there quiet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they feel like they want your input, especially when it comes to me. Like, sometimes they feel like, oh, Rob, he worked with everybody, or he did this, he did that. He has the knowledge to impart on me about my music, or could tell me about how this sounds, or, you know, and I try to help artists with that type of stuff as well. I feel like that's a huge part of, like, what I do. It's like the production side of what I do. Besides like beat making, because when you come here as an engineer, you learn that like it's different types of producers, and they got a course on that they teach you about the different types of producers that you come across. And once you learn about that, you like, oh wow, I'm actually one of those producers. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do that.
Right.
Or, you know, it's a type of production.
So you know, we also have a music business course.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about the actual nuts and bolts of how to run the industry.
Right.
Can you talk about that? Did that help you at all?
Yeah, definitely, because it helped me when it came to understanding, like, okay, you can reach out to certain people and get knowledge from them. They told me that you could just like, I'm like, how am I supposed to like reach out to these engineers or talk to them and like get this knowledge from them? They like just contact them, and that's what I did. And I actually met a few popular engineers or bigger engineers to get knowledge from them about the industry and stuff like that. And they told me about a few things about the industry. Like, it's hard to really like recall everything that I learned because it was so long ago, but I definitely can tell you that it was very, very intriguing, and they definitely showed me a lot, like in all aspects.
Well, as you know, Omega is a career school, and with the career school, you have the job placement department. And even though you were already working in studios, did the job placement department help you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I seen a lot of the jobs that they were sending me, like you were sending me. It just, they sent me a lot of studio. I seen studio jobs. Like, it's so many like different opportunities that you can get from being in the job placement program at Omega, because there's so many different avenues of audio that you can join from leaving here. You can literally leave here and work on the sound for TVs, movies, games, studio, live sound. Like, you can literally do anything audio once you leave here. So it's anything that you really want to do when it comes to engineering. If you really an audio engineer at heart and you love doing this, you can pick it up in any aspect of the genre you want. I mean, well, not genre, but any aspect of the job you want. It's a huge umbrella, and it's a lot of jobs that they send you, from PSAV to different studio gigs to live sound jobs, other live sound jobs. It's just a lot.
So what's your future like? The next year or two?
I plan on doing more mixing and stuff, imparting my taste on different music. Like I just mixed this album for an artist from Baltimore named Shorty Shorty. I just mixed his album, so that was like huge for me because he signed to Warner Records. So that was like one of the few times that I've actually been able to mix work that I've worked. You know, most of the time I do a lot of tracking for artists and stuff like that, and the vocal engineering for bigger artists at least.
Right.
But he's the first like bigger artist that gave me the opportunity to impart my sound on his music. What was the rest of the question again?
You know, just your future outlook. You know, the next.
So
next few
I'm
years
trying to
or whatever.
continue. I'm gonna try to continue on that path towards the industry. Working on mixing more music in a larger format, the same way I'm doing now. Like just expanding upon that business while maintaining the recording studio integrity and hiring engineers and making sure they learn and I can impart the same knowledge that you all give me to them, so that way they can go out into the field and be professional and serious about the craft just as I am.
What advice do you have for young engineers that are just coming out of the program?
Get your experience in. Just find a studio, regardless if it's not like a nice studio like Omega.
Is it worth it to intern too?
So my studio, we offer an intern program, and yeah, it is. Because you actually get to sit around a vetted engineer like me or one of the guys that work in my studio like my man Logan, and you can actually sit and learn from us, you know what I mean, and ask questions and stuff like that. But it also can be a double-edged sword, because sometimes interns come in and they don't ask questions and they just sit there and think they just going to make beats or do stuff like that, but you're not really going to learn. I'm just keep telling you, take the trash out and clean up the studio, you know what I mean? So you're not really going to learn. But if you actually show me that you're willing to learn, then I'll open up and give you that knowledge. You know what I mean? If you ask questions, you're going to know.
Right.
If you don't ask questions and you just sit there quiet on your phone, stepping out, doing your thing, you know, because we give you the opportunity to come up there whenever you want. We give you a schedule, stuff like that. So it's really all on the person that's coming in there and what they want to do.
And with that in mind, when you were in class, was it the same mindset with you?
Yeah,
in terms of
that's how I felt about the people in the school. Like it's all about what you want to do. A lot of people I don't get it. Well, I mean, what are you doing outside of school to help you understand what's going on?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not only do you just learn here, but you learn by taking it and using it. You know what I mean? Using the knowledge they give you, regardless if you don't have an SSA or a board or none of that type of stuff. It's plugins online on the computer and Pro Tools that literally emulate this exact console. That can tell you, okay, the EQ is right here. You can change the signal flow to this or signal path to this and do that. You can do all that in the plugin. So it's so many. It's all the stuff that you see in here. It's all plugins for it. So like, even if you like, bro, I don't even have a tape machine at home. Well, it's a tape machine plugin that you can use.
Okay.
That can tell you about bias and all these different things that they have. All these different elements of the audio equipment that you can learn. Like even down to like how the saturation works on the console. It's books. It's other stuff online that you could take. Like you could be like, okay, they told us about this. Let me go home and Google it. You know what I mean? Or learn more about it. You know what I mean? So it's just so much that you could do outside of being at Omega that can help you like soak in the knowledge that they teach you that a lot of people just don't do. From my experience.
Right.
Which they could. You know what I mean?
Right. They could.
And that's one thing I feel like I did versus other people.